There is only one way to really respond to this, and that is we need to have a clear understanding of this country and what's going on. And I respond to it by saying that their dialogue is very clever, because when I do a content analysis of the literature, they've moved from slavery itself to the vestiges. And what's curious is that they've eliminated a class that's in that country in the discussion. There are 4 classes that I took a note of when I was in that country. They're the Negro Africans who are holding on to their African culture and their heritage. And they call themselves Negro Africans for that reason. 2, there are the Haratines. Those are the ones you'll see in the discussion. These are the ones they discuss that go in and out, that they might listen to their master or they might not. That's the Haratine class. But the class that's not discussed is always the mythical or the mystery, the missing 90,000. They are called Abid, plural Abids. This 90,000 is not accounted for in any of their discussions. However, the cases that he's talking about being brought to the government are abundant. I have pictures of 4 of them. They're right there. In terms of the State Department, I have a contract of 1992. This particular contract deals with the racial nature. This is an Islamic country, but they buy and sell black Muslim people, which means, as from the dialogue with people, that these are subhuman people, which allows them to buy and sell them with religious impunity. So a selective morality kicks in. That's why this government can carry on like this with a clear conscience, because the people they buy and sell are not humans. The contract opens, if I might read that to the record. This is for 1992 in the Islamic year 1412, the month of Hijjah. In the name of Allah, most gracious and most merciful, salutations and peace upon him. They will cite the name of the people and the family name so that the government, if they were interested, could trace it. Muhammad Val Oud Nima, son of Sidiba, brought from Muhammad Liman Oud Sidi Muhammad, son of Talib Ibrahim, a slave with her daughter named Kiniba, in the price of 50,000 ugia, received entirely by the seller from the buyer. Therefore, it becomes effective his property of the 2 slaves listed. The 2 parties did receive my witness, and the buyer accepted before the hidden defects of the slaves. The contract was made at the end of the month of Hijjah of the year 1412 or 1992 by this judge or religious figure, Abdrabu Mutali Ud Muhammad Adrahmain, son of Beru. God forgive me and my father and all the believers. This picture is the woman and the child in the contract, can be contacted in Nutshuk through the head of El Hor, which is not recognized by the government, and she can be worked with because they are fighting in court with this contract. This is the contract, this is its translation in French. The buying and selling of people goes on and on. All of these individuals have a pattern that you see in the film. And that particular pattern is that once that woman runs, many times she's permitted to run. Some of the reasons for that permission have to do with if he doesn't feel like carrying her weight in his household, but he has babies, so he has fresh slaves, so he'll let her go, knowing that the government does not have any programs. When I find them living in the streets and in barracks in Nutshuk, starving, and carrying all sorts of labor trying to stay alive, like buzzards, their masters know where they are, trace them through other slaves, and they show up. Give me your babies then. You're hungry. Why don't you come back and work? These are Haratines going in and out, and runaway slaves. The Abid, the slave class, is in slavery and has the mentality, as it's been called many times in discussion, that of a donkey. This is important to understand. A donkey mind. I asked individuals, and they talked about how a donkey is tied outside of a building, and he doesn't go anywhere. You can beat his flanks red, splay them, but he doesn't move. These individuals are raised from birth when they're bred. They are told that the way to paradise is under the foot of their master. This class of people stay in the far countries or are shipped out of the country. No studies have been done that can be produced, whereas there was a government organization that went to these Bedouins, tents, highly mobile people who carry their slaves from one place to the next, interviewed them, told them what was happening. So that's my response. My response is, if he went to anti-slavery organizations who are not acknowledged, they have cases upon cases, they produce the people, they produce the pictures, but this is not what's interested. That's my response.